I wish all men were feminists like you.
Me too.
It's so refreshing.
All right, here's that check for you, sir.
Sir? First of all, do not assume my pronouns. Second of all, how dare you assume that because I'm a man that I'm going to be paying for this whole dinner? Women are fully capable of paying for themselves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to split the bill between you two then?
Actually, why don't we do this so we can really drive this point home for you, because you're giving me very misogynistic vibes right now. Leave the entire bill and she will pay for the entire thing because she is a strong, independent woman who does not need a man to provide for her. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, here's the check, ma'am. I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Canceled. I cannot believe how toxic that guy was.
Right. So toxic. Oh my god, this is expensive.
Oh, you got it. Give me a break, bitch! Give me a break!
Man, are you gonna help me?
Absolutely not. As a feminist man, I don't want to imply that you can't defend yourself just because you're a woman.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, what? Yeah. There's no difference between a man and a woman physically.
Welcome back to Male Choices, fellas. Today's story is a wild one, about a woman who destroyed her own marriage and now can't stop crying over the instant regret. We're diving deep into the decisions that led to her downfall, the heavy regret that hit afterward, and the lessons we can all take from it. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Let's jump right into it.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women. That it's better to be single, guys. They're almost like happy about the fact that they're gonna make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
It is not because they're fighting a war within themselves. It is because they found peace with themselves. And she was so close. She was just so close to getting there because at least she's recognizing what men are saying. Because they're tired of the complaining, the double standards, the expectations, and the risk of losing everything that they've built. There is no unresolved internal war going on in these men. He just found peace and contentment on his own instead of using that energy and effort on someone else.
Men have figured out the game. And it's clear now that staying single has its perks, big time. More and more guys are choosing peace and quiet over the constant drama and demands that come with relationships. It's not that men don't want companionship, but they're realizing that being single brings a whole new level of freedom, both mentally and financially. Think about it. When you're single, there's no pressure to meet someone else's sky-high expectations, no drama draining your energy, and definitely no one burning through your wallet. It's pure peace of mind. Men are loving the ability to focus on themselves, their careers, and their personal goals without being tied down by the emotional and financial strain of modern relationships. The truth is, a lot of guys are done with the emotional games, the unrealistic standards, and the constant feeling that no matter what they do, it's never enough. Instead of being stuck in a cycle of trying to please someone who's never satisfied, they're choosing to prioritize themselves. And let's talk about the money. It's a game changer. No more dropping cash on endless dates, gifts, or keeping up with relationship expenses. Men are stacking their money, saving, investing, and using it for their own goals. There's a serious freedom in knowing your hard-earned cash isn't being wasted on someone who might not even appreciate it. At the end of the day, it's all about balance. Men want peace, and if that means staying single to avoid the headaches, then so be it. The quiet, the focus, the financial security. It's no wonder more guys are walking away from relationships that don't serve them and fully embracing the single life.
The truth about why most women push for marriage and how women see marriage as an end goal and not being a wife or being marriage worthy. And part of the reason that women feel like this is because of these frickin' simps, guys. And it would happen often on my show where a woman would say she was abused by her ex-boyfriend. And it got to be so common that it was almost every other show, a woman would casually mention her abusive ex. And in my head, if you're willing to, on a public platform, publicly mention that your ex was abusive when people know oftentimes who your ex is, I want to make sure you're telling the truth. So I would ask a couple questions and I would find out that they were not, in fact, abused. And oftentimes what they do is they expand the definition of abuse. So if you get cheated on, were you abused or did you take an L? Serious question for women. Like, is it abuse if you get cheated on? I mean, it's happened to the best of us. It's unpleasant. I don't prefer it. But, I mean, abusive, gaslighting, I think that's a little bit extreme.
The harsh truth is, for a lot of men, marriage has started to feel like a trap. It's not that men are against commitment or building a life with someone. What they're against is the one-sided deal marriage has become. Women want the benefits of marriage, but often aren't willing to embrace the full responsibilities that come with it. For many men, marriage feels more like a legal setup, designed to take everything from them if things go wrong. Men know that if a marriage falls apart, they're likely losing half of what they've built, if not more, because the system is geared to favour women. Whether it's the courts, the government, or even the church, the man is often left holding the short end of the stick, fulfilling his obligations while her role in the marriage gets excused. It's no wonder men are more hesitant to commit these days. And let's not forget about conflict. If a man disagrees with his wife, suddenly it's labelled as domestic abuse. Anything that makes her feel uncomfortable can be twisted into something that ruins his life. The power imbalance is obvious, and men are realising they're walking on eggshells in relationships where any wrong step can lead to disastrous accusations. What's worse is that some women know they hold the upper hand legally and socially. They use this imbalance to get what they want, knowing they can leverage the system, whether through claims of abuse, hefty divorce settlements, or child custody battles. It's become a way to control men and extract resources, all while avoiding their share of responsibility in the relationship. Men are waking up to this reality. They're realizing that marriage, in its current form, doesn't offer the partnership or security it used to. It's a lopsided deal, and until the system changes to reflect true equality and accountability, more men will continue to avoid it.
I think a lot of women don't understand that and their dynamic between a man and themselves, that they're takers a lot of the time. So that's another reason I don't want to hang out with you, because I'm always in the red when I'm hanging out with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not even like a pleasurable experience like that. Like, goddamn, I always got to spend. I always got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that would make me look at a woman is like different and like kind of put her in a different is her willingness to try to save me money.
Choose better. I truly don't know how else to say. If you're talking to a woman and she keeps on saying all these expensive things and she not really trying to get to know you, why are you still entertaining her if you know she's trying to make you spend all this money and you don't want to spend it? 2, if you're asking a woman out and the bill comes and you look at the bill and you're like, damn, what's going on? You might not want to be dating because you're clearly dating outside of your budget and or doing things that you really can't afford. So maybe you really shouldn't be worried about these women. You should be worried about this money. And I know some of you be like, oh my God, why you're pandering? I'm not pandering. You should never go out and or ask someone to do something with you and then be mad that you got to spend money. If you ask this person out and you try to do something cheap and they don't want to do it with you, and I mean cheap, I mean ice cream, but then they'll go to the club with you and spend that type of money, they're clearly showing you what type of individual they are. But some of you going to sit up here and go with the woman that wants to be in the club all the time because she look good and you just trying to hit. But then when it comes to the woman that might just want to do ice cream, you don't want to talk to her because you don't like how she physically looks. Sometimes we do it to ourselves, but I can never stand behind the fact of you asked her out. You're the one entertaining her. You're the one getting to know her. You're the one that said, let's go to Mastro's, and then you getting mad at the simple fact of how much the bill is? Come on.
Exactly. These are the types of women who think a man's value is all about how fat his wallet is, not who he is as a person. It's like cash is the only thing that matters to them, which just shows they've got nothing of real substance to offer. They rely on someone else's success to boost their image because they bring zero value of their own. What's wild is how they set these ridiculous standards for what a man should provide financially, but never once stop to think about what they're bringing to the table. They expect a man to handle the cash flow, but when it comes to loyalty, support, or actually being a partner, silence. And it's no surprise that these relationships either crash and burn or never get off the ground. A woman who values a man only for his money is basically saying she wants to be kept, not be a true partner. Where's the balance in that? A relationship should be about building together, not just one person taking while the other provides. But these women have tricked themselves into believing that a man's money is all they need. Here's the truth. Any man with self-respect can spot this game a mile away. He knows when he's being used as an ATM, and no successful man is going to invest in someone who only sees dollar signs. Money won't fix a lack of character or emotional depth. The kind of man these women claim to want is actually looking for a woman who brings substance, not just someone tagging along for the ride. When your standards are all about someone else's money, It's obvious you're not bringing much to the table yourself. No wonder these women end up stuck, because no man who's built his life and success is going to settle for someone who only cares about what's in his bank account.
And one last thing about our relationship, I just want you guys to understand, like, I've been getting messages saying, like, it seems like you're so happy, it seems like you were so happy, blah, blah, like, I mean, I'm not trying to be, like, insensitive or rude by any means, but it's like, if something was going wrong and you're trying to repair things in your relationship, like, I don't really think you're, like, going out on the internet, like, telling everybody what your problems are. You're sharing what is good in that moment and what you're happy with, but obviously there were so many problems that were going on, and I'm not going to be voicing them, you know, while I'm in this sort of relationship. Do you know what I mean? So I hope you guys, like, understand that sometimes everything that you see is not always what it is because people are going through it. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that people aren't being authentic and real. It's that, like, sometimes not everything is meant to be on the internet. And, like, I could take my own advice, for example, you know, but, like, I didn't air out any of our shit during that time, you know? And, like, let me tell you something. I was really happy. Like, I was so happy for so long. And then there comes a time and a point where you just feel sort of defeated and you can't work through those problems, and then you start being unhappy, and then you need to start choosing to love yourself and all of those sort of things. So we'll get into everything on, like, a little get ready with me, like, real chat, because there's some really good questions.
It's almost predictable at this point. Another woman claiming she's happier post-divorce, but her actions tell a completely different story. She destroyed her 6-month marriage thinking there was something better out there, only to now face the cold, hard reality that life post-divorce isn't the fairy tale she thought it would be. She's out here pretending she's living her best life, but let's be real, she's barely keeping it together. This whole "I'm happier without him" narrative feels like more of a defense mechanism than the truth. The same women who say they're thriving are usually the ones who quickly realize they're out in the cold world alone, handling bills and responsibilities they never even had to think about before. It's like they've bought into this culture that glorifies leaving marriages without ever considering the consequences. Now she's facing the reality that the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's just a barren wasteland. It's sad but also frustrating to watch this unfold. The marriage didn't even last a year, and she was quick to call it quits because she wasn't feeling it or thought she deserved more. Instead of working through the challenges, she's going to be stuck facing the harsh realities of life on her own. Her so-called happiness. Just a facade to cover up the regret and uncertainty building up inside. These stories are becoming more common. Women walking away from marriages that could have been fixed with just a little more effort and patience. But instead, they buy into this empowering narrative, only to face a brutal wake-up call when reality sets in. Divorce isn't the escape they think it is, and when you destroy something that could have worked, regret is the inevitable consequence. Let's be honest, this independent, strong woman act isn't fooling anyone. It's only a matter of time before she's struggling to pay bills or find someone genuinely interested now that she's back on the dating market with baggage. The fantasy of freedom fades fast, and what's left? Loneliness and financial instability. Fellas, just sit back and watch, the regret is coming. Here we go again. Same woman from the last clip, once all smiles, proudly boasting about her newfound independence post-divorce. Fast forward, and now she's in tears, full of regret, wondering where it all went wrong. It's almost clockwork, isn't it? This trend of pretending everything's fine, only to have reality smack them in the face once the loneliness sets in. Let's be real. When she was flaunting her happiness after the divorce, it was more about saving face than any actual fulfillment. You could sense the denial in her voice, like she was trying to convince herself she made the right choice. But now that the dust has settled, she's realizing that life after divorce isn't as glamorous as she thought. She believed she was making this bold, empowered move, but in truth, she walked away from something that could have been worked out. Now, the loneliness, the bills, the uncertainty, they're all crashing down on her. Classic case of thinking the grass is greener, only to find out it's full of weeds. The short-lived thrill of freedom has been replaced by the harsh reality of facing life solo, and it's clearly not as easy as she imagined. Those tears, they're all about regret. Deep down she knows she messed up, threw away a marriage, thinking she'd find something better, but now she's left with nothing but loneliness. It's hard to watch this cycle unfold. First the bravado, then the inevitable breakdown when reality hits. She let emotions dictate her decisions, never thinking through the long-term consequences. Instead of working through the challenges, she opted for the easy way out, but now that path has led her straight to regret. And those tears, they're a painful reminder of the good she had but failed to appreciate.
I can't look back and regret it, because actually if I hadn't gone through any of those things, I wouldn't be where I am now. And where I am now is a really nice place. So you're going to get to a point where you can look back and reflect on your relationship and be like, I'm actually really glad I went through all those things, because here's what I know now. Here's what I absolutely will not tolerate again. Here's what I'm looking for. And it is really eye-opening to know that you're so much more clued up, switched on, and you've still got the rest of your life ahead of you, and you know you're not going to make those same mistakes again.
Here's the deal. She says she doesn't regret her divorce, and right now life's all good. But let's be real, we've all heard this story before. It's easy to claim no regrets when you're still high on the post-divorce freedom buzz. Fast forward a bit. Let's see how she feels when the loneliness kicks in and she's dealing with life's grind solo. Right now, she's in the honeymoon phase. Maybe enjoying a little more freedom, going out, exploring new things. But that's temporary. Being in a nice place right now doesn't mean she's not heading for regret later when reality smacks her in the face. She's got the post-divorce empowerment vibe going, but will she still feel that way when the excitement fades and the weight of handling everything alone starts stacking up? That whole I don't regret it mindset. It's a defense mechanism, because admitting she messed up would mean confronting the truth. Maybe she acted impulsively. She might genuinely think she's in a good spot now, but let's see how long that lasts. Freedom can quickly turn into isolation, and the buzz she's feeling now, that's temporary. Real happiness, real contentment. It doesn't come from running away from a marriage. It comes from working through the tough times, building something solid. She can throw around the I don't regret it line all she wants, but time's the real test. When the dust settles and she's staring at the life she left behind, that regret's going to creep in. She says she's fine now, but let's check back when she's no longer in that nice place. Time will tell if she's really got no regrets.